First, last, and always VC contest entry. Hi, welcome to Garage Geek. Trevor's Flat, Round, and Spun vinyl community channel is holding a contest because he reached 300 subscribers. So in this contest, there are basically 4 elements that you have to do. So I'm going to go through them as I do the video. He requests that you do it with vinyl, but you know me, I'm going to do it across a few genres. So I'm going to start with vinyl so that if you're only interested in vinyl, you can click off after that, but please don't. And then I'm going to go through comics and literature. So the theme is first, last, and everything. I'm going to start with music. So first is trying to remember the first recording that you bought on vinyl. Now, I'm going to go an opposite route. I don't remember the first record I bought on vinyl, but I remember the first one I bought on CD. Kind of when I was young. I wasn't so young, but it was starting to transition from albums to CDs, and I went in and I bought 3 CDs the first time. One of them was either Genesis or Phil Collins. I can't remember. But I definitely remember that I bought Frankie Goes to Hollywood. That speaks volumes. Okay, so I bought Frankie Goes to Hollywood. And you know what? This is a damn fine album. It stands up today. This is great. If you only know the song Relax, which is and should be the national anthem of the United States, then you really need to deep dive into this album because it is very nice. Now, it is very 80s pop, but I believe Trevor Horn produced it. One of the Trevors. It shows this album is dripping with awesomeness. Okay, so that was my first. Next is my last, the one that I most recently purchased. Now, he wants us only to show one, so I'm only going to show one. Now, I just did a video where I picked up these 2 albums, so I'm going to show Louie and Keely. Now, I picked it up solely for that cover. I mean, I do like both of them, but I could listen to this on CD, but look at that cover. Wow, look at the colors. I only showed one, though. I'm only showing one. And then the next one, oh, I just hit my Funko Pops behind me in my excitement. My next one is my Always. Here it is. So I didn't pull the vinyl off the shelf, but I have this little bubblegum vinyl thing, and so it's as good as anything. So this is, I don't know if you could see it, Gary Newman. And where's Telecon written? Oh, it's down here in the corner. You can't see it. It says Telecon. Well, thank goodness my nails are clean. You got a close-up of my nails. So there it is. This is my go-to, one of them. This is one of my Desert Island discs. I really need to make a video of my top 10, but this was just formative for me, and I just listened to it over and over again while I was reading Lord of the Rings, the 3 books, right? And as a kid, I would just replay this, and this is like in my brain. This is, to me, an amazing, amazing album. I mean, to someone who picks it up right now and listens to it, I wonder what they would think. But for me, this is a seminal album. It's one of my always albums in bubblegum form. Okay, so I did my vinyl. So now I'm going to do comics. The first comic that I remember falling in love with. My older brother loved Marvel, and so he collected Marvel. And he would sometimes buy me DC because he didn't really care for it. And DC was, generally speaking, for younger kids, right? So younger kids would read DC and then they would graduate onto Marvel, which were a little bit more serious. Unlike later when all of that changed. But one of my absolute first comics that it just got me into comics was a run of the Defenders, which I think is just astonishing. Like, reading this, I fell in love with comics, and you know I'm going to geek out. So I'm going to just show you some of the covers, and I used DJ Trish's stickers as markers. Look at this. Who could look at that and not want to pick it up and read it? This has what, I don't know why, but this stayed in my mind. Like, this is one of the most important comic sequences to me. And it's Yellow Jacket. He saves these kids, but as he does so, he sprains his ankle, and look at him. He's sweating there, look. And they're basically, this is a terrorist group, and they're coming to get him, and he's like, I can still do this. I can do this. And then bam, they like knock him over the head, knock him out cold. Poor Yellow Jacket. I don't know why that's stuck into my head, but all these years. Now, look at this. This has got to be the... Look at this comic cover. Look, they're all strapped. These are called the Sons of the Serpent. And look, and that's another thing with Defenders. They were kind of a non-group, and they would just have all these like random characters showing up. So here we've got Son of Satan and Daredevil. It's one of the reasons why I love Son of Satan so much. You're going to see Luke Cage showing up. And look at that splash page. That's got to be one of the best splash pages ever. Look at that. The cover and the splash page. Oh, yeah, and the jaws of the serpent. Okay, I'm still going to show a few more. If this isn't the best cover of all time, I don't know. Look at Valkyrie upside down like that. Look at this guy. He's knocked out, but his hand is contorted. Look, Daredevil's out. Oh, there's Luke Cage. Is there anybody else? Yeah, there's Son of Satan, Doctor Strange. But look at Valkyrie. That is some satanic stuff going on right there. Oh, and look at that. There's a good splash page too, Clea, with Son of Satan and Luke Cage. Luke Cage is another favorite of mine. Now, get ready. Your eyes are going to pop out of your head. You think Jack Kirby has some amazing splash pages? Sleepy Reader 999? Look at that splash page. That has got to be the best splash page ever. Look, you could just follow the action throughout these. Oh, no, these aren't called splash pages. Sorry. What are these called? Double page spreads? But whatever. Look at that. That's got to be the best thing you've ever seen in your life. Here's my DJ Trish sticker. In this run, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy showing up. They're very different from the team now. Look at all these floating heads. This one is so awesome. Look, so they get transported to this planet where, unbeknownst to Valkyrie, she starts fighting, but then she realizes these creatures are all female. So she can't fight females, and so she's like all knocked out. That is awesome, right? Of course, they always put Valkyrie up against females, so she had to lose because she was so powerful, right? Because she's an Asgardian. Listen to me geeking out. Here's a cover. I mean, that's a great cover, but that's even better. Look at that splash page. There's a firing squad, and they're getting ready to shoot everybody. I think these people are called the Badoon. But anyways, I geeked out. Defenders. This is the first. It should be my always, but I've got something else for my always too. So my most recent, I showed this in the video. I picked up an old copy of Lassie. And I was laughing so hard because I was like, is Lassie a girl or a boy? And then my friend wrote to me. She's like, dude, lad. I mean, that's Scottish, right? And so like, duh, Lassie, obviously. I don't know why I divorced the dog's name from the word lassie, lad, laddie. Like, that was like the biggest brain fart. So of course Lassie is a girl. I was laughing and kicking myself. Like, how stupid can you be? So anyways, look at this gorgeous painted cover of Lassie's hair blowing in the wind with the mountains. It's a 10-cent comic, and I got it for $6 because they were all half. Yeah, so that was my most recent. And my always, I am going to cheat. I'm going to give 2 because I grew up with John Byrne and George Perez. And these are my always artists. And not only that, but Byrne was also writing the stories. And he pumped out comics like crazy. He always had a really interesting, I can't say always, but he really had amazing runs, like on Fantastic Four and Alpha Flight. And this one is a bit later, right? But his earlier stuff, what am I missing? I'm missing a major one before Fantastic Four. But his runs, and then, of course, George Perez's art. Wow, just stunning. So I recently showed this this comic as well. So that was a cheat. I did 2. So that was my first, last, and always. All right, so now I'm going to go on to literature. Oh, no, I have movies. I forgot about movies. I did 3 movies, too. First, last, and always. I'm going to have to put pictures up on the screen, so I'm going to move over a little bit. The first movie I remember going to see at a movie theater was either the Batman movie. I remember going to see that one. And like the 1966 movie that they made later. I don't know. I forget. But it was with the comedic Batman from the 60s. But I also remember going to see the movie The Screaming Skull, and I did start screaming. I was so young that my brother had to take me out of the theater. And now, of course, when I watch The Screaming Skull, it's like the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. The most recent movie I watched was Nope. And I am going to go over that movie in my Friday night chat because that movie has so much. And it's such a good movie. Okay, Jordan Peele. Wow. Nope. And my always movie, I can move back into the center now, is The Matrix. I don't care what I'm doing. Like, if The Matrix is on or just happens to be on, I have to stop and watch it. For me, it's such a compelling movie. I don't know why. It's got amazing special effects. I guess I like the alternate worlds. It's almost like an alternate reality. Such a great film. Okay, and the final one that I'm going to do is books. Now, it's really hard to remember the first book that I ever read. Yeah, I can't. Like, what is an early book that I don't know. I think I've always just been a reader, and of course I read a lot of comics, and then I would read books. That one's going to be hard for me, so maybe I'll just say like The Hobbit. I don't know. One of the earliest books that I read that I remember. And then the last book that I bought, which I haven't started reading yet, is this Neville Shute on the Beach, which is a post-apocalyptic novel, sci-fi classic. And then I'm gonna cheat again. I'm gonna give two, one male and one female. If there were no other authors and I could only read these two authors, then I would be satisfied. So number one is Kazuo Ishiguro, and I have to thank my friend in Iowa. I think she introduced me to Kazuo Ishiguro, and she always watches my videos. So thank you so much. Kazuo Ishiguro is one of my absolute favorite writers, and I'm going to explain why in a second. And then for females, I would pick Anita Brookner. Now, I just realized how sexist that was. I divided them by sex. But I think it's important, one from a male, one from a female. What's really interesting about this is these two writers, number one, they often write first-person narratives with very flawed characters, right? And as you're reading, you could see the problems with these characters, but you want to interact with these characters because they're so off mentally. But you can't, obviously, and that's why these writers are so great. Kazuo Ishiguro almost always writes from a male perspective. Not always. He's starting to change that. And then Anita Brookner, you has the same character, basically, but from a female point of view. And I adore first-person narratives. I love these flawed characters that they write. And for me, these are the two always authors. Now, this was very subjective. As I was going through the list of authors and books, like many popped into my head, but I'm going to stick with these two. These are the two that I picked. So that was first, last, and always for writers. Trevor wants us to shout out one channel that has fewer subs than I do. So I'm right around 400. Please, everybody, I've been around 400 for about a month and a half, like just there. So, I mean, that's ridiculous to say because if you're already watching me, you're subbed. But if this can go out into the ether, like, I need some subs. I want to get to 500. Come on. But anyways, I am going to shout out Beardy Red Viking. Now, Beardy Red Viking has a heavy metal channel. He has right around, I wrote it down. Where is it? Oh, I didn't write it down. It's in the picture that I'm going to put. So if I say the wrong number, sorry. He has around 300 subs, I think. And I'm sorry if I don't mention you because I was just scrolling through my list and he was the first one that I found under 300. So sorry again. Like, it's difficult to just pick one channel to shout out. But Beardy Red Viking has been having some health issues recently, and I'm just really, really looking forward to him getting back into the game and sharing videos with us. He forced me, like, he came to my house and he tied me up. He came all the way from, I don't know what country he's from. One of the England. Oh gosh, wait, where is he from? Scotland? I'm gonna get in trouble for this. So he's from one of those countries over up there around England. So anyways, sorry. I know nationality is a big thing, so sorry, Beardy Red Viking. He's a Viking. Maybe he's from Scandinavia. So, anyways, he came to my house, he tied me up, and he forced me to listen to At the Gates for a solid week or week and a half. And man, that was torture. I was so glad when he left. Obviously, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, but it was difficult, but it was important because it pushed me through that growly vocals barrier. And now I actually kind of like it. I want to thank Beardy Red Viking for that. And for that, he is my shout out. Let's get him more subscribers. And Beardy, I hope you're feeling better so that you can make more content. I enjoy it. I especially like when you go to concerts and you film the bands. That's really interesting. So yeah, that's my contest entry for Trevor's Flat, Round, and Spun. So let's get him now to 400. And if he gets there before me, I'm going to be jealous. All right, I want to thank everybody for your support.